So hello guys, welcome back to Mark Omondi TV, your one and only channel that educates you, motivates you, inspires you, and gives you fun content. So today I want us to talk about New Year resolutions. I don't know how much you guys believe in it. Maybe you can leave comments right below this video after watching this entire episode. So there has been a lot of stories out here. I'm sure you guys have either read in books or heard people talk about New Year resolutions or even watched YouTube videos talking about New Year resolutions in various arguments. So there are those who think that New Year resolutions are not important. They never make any sense. There is also a school of thought that thinks New Year resolutions are very important in shaping the direction that someone takes in terms of achieving their goals for the year. And that brings me to my own thoughts about how important New Year resolution actually is. And I'll give you my arguments based on my own personal experiences. And this is where it starts. For the past 6 years or so, I've been very consistent with my New Year resolutions. Very consistent. Like every last week of the year, I usually sit down, draft my New Year resolutions for the upcoming year in advance, just to set pace for that particular year. Most of the time I do not more than 10 items. I list them down in my diary. I also save a copy on my laptop, and of course on my email as well, just in the event laptop misbehaves. So I've been doing that consistently for the past 6 years or more, around there about. And at the end of every year, towards the end of every year, I sit down before I set the New Year resolutions for the following year. I usually sit down, do something called a review of whatever New Year resolutions I set for myself for the current year, and then I give myself a rating in terms of success levels of those New Year resolutions. So most of the time, ever since I started off, my success rate is usually around 60%, around there. Most of the time I give a list of around 7 to 10 items for a year as my New Year resolutions. So I wish I had all my diaries. I've kept my diaries religiously for the past over 7 years. Unfortunately, I left them in my country. As you know, right now I've moved to a different country to pursue my studies, my further studies. So I wish I had all those previous diaries. I would have shown you one by one, year by year, how much New Year resolutions has been important to me. So as we move on, clearly you can read my perception of how much I regard New Year resolutions in someone's life. So, for the purposes of this episode, I'll share with you my 2022 New Year resolutions. This is early 2023. To be precise, today is 17th of February 2023. So the year is pretty young. So I just want to review with you guys my New Year resolutions for 2022. That's the immediate former year. And how much have I been able to achieve from that list. So I'll just pull out my diary. As you can see, this is my diary for 2022. It's looking old. I've really made good use of it. Like, I literally take note of everything every day. You guys, I hope you won't read my private items, but this is my new year, sorry, this is my diary for 2022. And I'll take you straight to the first page. This is the first page. As you can see, those were my New Year resolutions for 2022. There were 7 items. As you can see, there were 7 items. You can pause the video so that you can read each one of them. You get to know what my New Year resolutions for 2022 were. So as you can see, I've ticked those ones that I've been able to accomplish, and I've marked with an X those that I have not been able to accomplish at this time, up to this time. So let's go through them, guys. Assuming you've paused the video and read through each of those New Year resolutions. So number 1, New Year resolution was I was supposed to complete my mom's house. That is, constructing my mom's house by June 2022. Well, I started building for my mom a year prior. Is it even a year prior? I think that COVID year. So I did up to about 50% of the construction, and then I got distracted with my finances and all that, so I paused a bit. So I did not manage to finish building the house for my mom in 2021. So when I started 2022, I told myself this was one of my New Year resolutions. I should have finished it by June 2022. That was a very ambitious goal for me because my income was not so good by that time, but again, it's always good to set goals that challenge you to stretch beyond your limits. So that's exactly what I did. That was number 1. Unfortunately, I didn't accomplish that as at the end of the year. I just did a bit of improvement, but never finished it. So as per my own standards, that was not a goal accomplished for 2022. Let's go to item number 2. I was supposed to do an official visit to Nabuires by April 2022, which I did. That was in February. I did it very early. Yeah, so that was a planned visit. So I did that, I think, on 12th February. I wanted to finish it as early as possible. So as per my list, that was a resolution accomplished. Item number 3, I was supposed to start my MBA at United States International University or Strathmore University by June 22, sorry. And this is where it gets interesting. And I think one thing to learn about New Year resolutions is that sometimes you might decide to go a certain way, but along the way, as the year progresses, you are able to tweak some of those New Year resolutions to make them more clearer as time goes by. So at this point in time, I was focused on these two universities that are based in Kenya, and I was supposed to do my MBA, Masters in Business Administration, because I was looking to progress into serious management in the corporate world, but I felt like the lack of MBA, the lack of masters generally was limiting me in a way. So that was one of the items I wanted to accomplish in 2022. So, well, important to mention is that I did not proceed to do an MBA. Neither did I proceed to do a program in any of those two universities. Again, neither was I able to start off by June 2022 as stated in the New Year resolutions. But what happened is that as I continued to research and really fine-tune on this particular item, I discovered that a master's in the US would be more valuable to me and my career. And I think just looking at the networking that is involved when you attend universities in the US and the exposure, I thought it would be a better deal to consider the United States, which at that point in time I didn't have a lot of information about studying there. So secondly, again, I also discovered that if I'm to do my master's in the US, then it would make sense to consider a STEM course, a STEM program. For those who don't know, STEM simply means it's an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So the US is well known for technology and those technical programs. So I thought if I'm to consider the US, then I have to switch my mind slightly away from MBA, but not far away. So what I did some research, and then I discovered Master of Science in Business Analytics, MSBA, would be a better fit for me, since it matches both some aspects of business and tech, which is data analytics. So the long story short, which maybe one day I'll tell you in a different episode, is that for this item number 3, I can say I've been able to accomplish it because I started off, I joined University of Louisville in Kentucky in the US, and started my classes on 9th of January 2023. So yes, that was a resolution accomplished. Let's go to number 4. I also listed that I would start and maintain a gym / martial arts culture daily by January 1st, 2022. I think straight to the point, this is a routine that I've been able to adhere to since the year started. Sorry, the past year, 2022. I started off right away in January. I've been doing that, sometimes not very religiously daily. I can miss 1 or 2 or 3 days, but it's a routine that I've been able to adapt and doing quite well on it even as we speak. Then item number 5, I was supposed to buy my fourth car by December 2022. And here I was looking at a slightly bigger car than what I had. My first, second, and third cars had been smaller cars. So this time around, even if it was going for a second-hand car, I wanted a slightly bigger car for myself by December 2022. The good news is that I was able to buy that car by March 2022. It was second hand though, because I could not afford a brand new one, but it was in good shape. So that was a resolution accomplished. Then number 6, which I didn't accomplish as well, just like number 1, I was supposed to buy 1 acre parcel of land either in Busia or Kakamega. For those who don't come from Kenya, those are 2 counties in Kenya, western part of Kenya. So I was supposed to buy 1 acre of land in those 2 counties by October 2022. This didn't happen. I think my finances were a bit strained because of item number 3. I started working on relocating to the US to come and pursue my further studies. So my finances were really tight. I could not accomplish it. So for sure I didn't do a lot of progress in that. Then finally, number 7, I was supposed to board SGR with family by August 2022. So good news also is SGR is a standard gauge railway. For those who don't know, that is a new railway system that was built in Kenya. I had not boarded it before. So for this particular year, I was supposed to at least board it for the first time, both by myself and with family. So I did this. I actually did 2 trips in that 1 year, which I think was good. So overall, guys, I managed to accomplish 5 out of 7 items in my New Year resolutions. I wish I had an extra calculator here. I would have calculated so that we get to know the success rate. So just give me a moment, guys. Let me look for a calculator, then I'll be right back. So welcome back, guys. I've gotten a calculator. So I accomplished 5 out of 7 items. So that would be so I did 71.4% of my New Year resolutions. So clap for me, guys. Second, let's clap for the New Year resolutions. So I would want to leave you to be the judge of whether New Year resolutions actually work or not. But in summary, from my opinion and from my experience, is that when you set New Year resolutions, you tend to be quite focused in those items. So you keep reviewing them. Like in my case, I review my New Year resolutions after every 2 months just to see whether I'm in the right track or not. But you see, if you don't have a New Year resolution, however focused you are, however successful you might be, assuming most of your New Year resolutions need finances, sometimes you might just end up spending your energies in items that do not matter, simply because you don't have a plan. And that's what has worked for me so far. And if you look at most of these items, I don't think I accomplished them because my finances were good. Not at all. If anything, in that year I was really struggling financially. But since in my mind I knew very well that I had set certain targets for myself for that particular year, I had to look for extra ways of ensuring that um, my budget fits to help me accomplish these particular items. So guys, let's feel challenged. Every year before the year starts, what I would tell you, for those who would care to listen, is that try and have a list of the things you want to accomplish for that particular year. It will really guide you, and then you just don't set it for write them for the sake of it. It's good to frequently review them so that you get to understand whether you're on the right track or not. Whenever you review them, you are able to recharge yourself and bring yourself back to the right path in the event you had gotten lost along the way. So that's my experience, guys. I would want to know what your experience has been. Do these New Year resolutions work for you? Do you even know that they exist in the first place? Have you been writing your New Year resolutions religiously? And have they been working? And if they have not been working, why do you think they have not been working? And if they have been working, how do you think you can improve on it so that they work for you even more? So let me get those comments below so that we can be able to encourage each other. I can also learn from your experiences, just like you have been able to learn from my own experiences. Otherwise, cheers, guys. As usual, feel free to like this video, but don't forget to subscribe. I've discovered guys are enjoying this content, but you're not subscribing. I don't know why. It's good to subscribe so that whenever something pops up as an episode, you become the first person to watch. Okay, so have a nice day, guys. Bye, and as usual, see you in the next episode.